If you're like me, you're cooking a lot of meals at home, but some recipes just don't taste as good as the mixes that we can buy in the store. And buttermilk pancakes is one of those recipes. If you've made homemade buttermilk pancakes in the past and they turned out dry and kind of flavorless, I hope you give this recipe a try. These buttermilk pancakes have become a family favorite in my house, and they're really simple to throw together in one bowl. Let's get started. I'll leave a link to the printable version of this recipe down in the description, so you can just hang out with me while we throw these pancakes on the griddle. I'm starting with 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. I like to sift all of my dry ingredients together because it takes care of any clumps that might be in the baking soda or baking powder. And it does a good job of sifting the flour and other dry ingredients together. Pinch of salt. Tablespoons of sugar. We're going to need a 1/2 stick of melted butter. I'm going to get that melted right now while we're mixing the other ingredients together. I'm just using salted butter. Two cups of buttermilk. This is really key. I've tried this recipe with just milk, cream, heavy cream, also half and half, and it's just not as good as with the buttermilk. The texture is different, and if you're going to make pancakes at home, it really is worth it to get the buttermilk. And last, a teaspoon of vanilla. Putting that right into the buttermilk and egg mixture. I know I said this was a 1 bowl recipe, and it kind of is because we needed this measuring cup for the buttermilk. And if I add all the liquid into the buttermilk, then we're just dumping it in and not dirtying an extra mixing bowl to bring those liquid ingredients together. I'm going to add the butter last because once the butter hits this cold mix, it's going to solidify, and you'll get these little flecks of butter in the batter. And that helps give these pancakes a very light, flaky texture. Not really flaky. I shouldn't say flaky. Gives it just a nice, fluffy pancake. Don't overmix. This batter will have some lumps. And now butter goes in. Before I started mixing this together, I preheated my griddle on the stove. This is where I always go wrong. I don't get the griddle to the right temperature, and I either burn the first batch or don't cook it enough or high enough temperature so it kind of cooks too much, if that makes sense. It gets really dry. What I like to do is give it a trial run. I take the other half a stick of that butter from the half we melted a few minutes ago. And just that alone is giving me an indication that it's definitely hot enough, but butter is bubbling. But I'm starting with just one pancake because I don't want to waste more than that if this ends up being too hot or too cold. I think it's a little too low. That looks great. My back burner seems to run a little hotter than the front one. Oh, that looks great. These pancakes taste amazing right off the griddle, but they also do really well being stored in the refrigerator for a couple of days. They've never lasted longer than that in my house. Before I peek underneath, I look for signs of the pancake setting up. The edges are going to get a little bit more firm. You might start to see some bubbles forming in the batter. Here's our little test pancake. Let's check out our little test pancake here. Light and fluffy, cooked all the way through, no gooey middles. These are amazing. Don't be afraid to adjust your temperature as you go. I'm telling you, if I'm going to ruin these pancakes, it's going to be in this stage when I'm trying to cook them. If you give this recipe a try, I'd love to hear about it, so let me know down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you again soon.